And we are live. Hold on. To my 16 voters. You will pay. Yeah, we are doing a season 3 of Battle for Dream City. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't know why I ended the other one. Hold on. No, this is not it. Oh, wait. Yeah, here's your character that you did, Cuphead. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I just took an image of a puppet. Anyways, Battle for Dream City Deluxe. Wait, no. Did I just say deluxe? I mean deluxe. This season will have 20 contestants. 10 oldies and 10 newbies. Okay, just woke up from my delusion or something. But, yes, it does. Okay. Well, before we get new contestants, we're going to be, another wheel. So yeah, we're doing this again. But, we're bringing all these guys back. But now we're adding in the new contestants from Season 2. Why does it keep doing this? Okay, firstly, we've got... we got 14 ball. We got Call Bell. We have Nerf Gun. Who's our next? Nerf Gun. Putting them in alphabetical order. Then we have Ruby Play Button. Then who else do we got? We've got Straight. Then Target. Wait, no. Who, by the way, was the Season 2 champion. Then our last one is TikTok logo. Oopsies, whoop wops. He's not the last one. Our last contestant from... no. Is... from music. There we go. Now we can do this. So, we're going to have 10 characters return. And they will be determined by this wheel. Hi, Cryptic. Yeah, E. Okay, so, who will be our first contestant? Who will be our first oldie? Okay, yeah. And TikTok logo. Congrats, you made it into Season 2. Oh, wait, no, not Season 2. Season 3. And hello. 8. 8. Ah, that's 8 more than I was hoping for. Okay. There you are. Hug. It's glitchy. I know. All my streams get glitchy. Oh, wait, no. This is what I meant to do. Okay, so. And the season winner is back. Hi, Lemony. Okay, welcome back, Among Us Trash Can. The season 1 winner, who was originally eliminated first, but then rejoined and won. Who will be our 4th returner? Yes, y'all can recommend. After we get the 10 oldies back. Okay, so first the winner is back. Now season 2's winner is back. Welcome back, Target. Brain rot. Is that like a show? Okay, so... Well, this is back.
Got a plant that needs some love?
No.
Google app for iPhone.
No, I do not have a plant that needs love. Shut up. Okay, so our next contestant is Lettuce. Gen Alpha. I don't know much about brain rot, so no opinion. Okay. Well, before we do that, let's just make these guys a little bit smaller. Actually, we should make these guys smaller too for making the oldies smaller. Papa Jr. is already small enough, but okay. 5 people are left. Who will they be? Welcome back, Screw. Hold on, I should probably do this. Because, you know, that'll be better. Well, we have Screwy back. 4 contestants left. But who will they be? Thrar Music. Hotel California. Well, literally all the flyers are back. Because now we've got Trollface. That'll be much better. So, Face. Who came dead last season. Other junior contestant. Well, it's a little bit too early for that. And Callback is back. one last contestant. Who will it be? And play button is back. Well, we got our 10 returners. Well, you guys are so loved. Well, looks like these are the favorites. I have absolutely no idea how to put these guys in order. This'll work for now. Alright. Well, we already got a new recommended character, so Hattie Jr. Dang. No. Damn, 2 juniors. That's a lot. Well, actually, no, it's not a lot. Anyways, yeah, so far we got 13 contestants. But, Cryptic, Lemony, are y'all still here? Okay, who is your recommended character? Cryptic. Facebook logo. Okay. Let me go get all limbs, okay, and apparently she's okay. Just Facebook logo. There you go. We'll get this one. We already got enough squares. We need a few more circles. Well, we won't use this one. We'll use this one. Just got an outline. Let me just the map. Okay, this is our next contestant. Here you go. There's your book logo. Oh, she has a phone, kind of like Hot Chocolate from that one other show. Anyways, okay, so what we know about Facebook is it's a girl, all limbs, and apparently She has her phone. Oh, wait, no. It's not supposed to be red. I'm gonna try to make it look like she's looking at her phone, but let me guess what she's doing on her phone. Facebook? Let me just... Okay, is this good enough? This is not looking as good as I thought. Let me check. This is coming up bad so far. Okay, asset smaller. Why does Glue Gun look pissed at Poppet Jr.? It's not a glue gun. Okay, the asset's smaller. I'm not actually going to do that. And then we're just gonna... So, this is the best I can do. So, no. These are the Mavs assets. Back or front? Should I use the front of phone or the back of phone? Okay, then. We have... Okay, this is the best that I can do. This is Facebook logo. Well, there's our 14th contestant. Okay.
Now, normally, what Krebs does is heinous, illegal, or incredibly stupid, but trying to push your wares and expecting to be compensated for them isn't an immoral action. Apparently, the writers disagree with me. After Patrick eats a bunch of extra Krabby Patties, I'm able to pay for them because he does his job.
I usually like to do this to advertise my stream.
Try pulling that one out of real. Krebs gets Patrick to work in order to make up for his bill. Guess what happens?
That's what
Every little activity. Instead of cleaning up the bathroom, he eats all the hand soap. Instead of putting ice cubes in a barrel, he smashes the freezer.
Your name is Zach? Lemonnie's name is Zach?
You'll never eat another Krabby Patty again. Considering the pressure of pain and things, that isn't much of an overreaction. So to the trash, but it won't go down. So SpongeBob comes in and tells him how to use it. Of course, Mr. Krabs told him to put away some money.
I didn't really do anything.
But after the buddy and gone. If you ask for a Mr. Krabs torture report, this is you see, these new writers don't understand that people generally don't like to see the pain of the instance. I can't imagine why.
Your brain is full of spiders. You've got your soul grinch.
Oh, I'm not going to make many friends with my next choice. Alright, before you get up in arms, I SpongeBob, and I never did. I consider it a good show, and like many good shows, it has a few duds. And this would be my least favorite of them. So let's talk about it.
Patrick, I came over to see if you wanted to go jellyfishing, but I can see you're busy having an episode.
And we're off to a pretty good start. No, really. The setup to this
Sack of diapers.
Patrick, if your parents think you're dumb, then they must not know what dumb really is.
Yeah, I'm still going with that response. So, SpongeBob decides to pretend to be stupid, so Patrick's parents will think that he's smart. Sometime later, Patrick comes over and treat him like an idiot. Then we see some reinforcement that these guys think that Patrick's stupid.
It
like
usually does
season
that.
7 or season 8 stupid,
Anyways.
not season 2 stupid. And finally, SpongeBob
Recommend
comes over
more
and acts like an idiot,
characters.
much to Patrick's delight. His enjoyment seems to be growing with each
Oh, by the
and
way,
everything that SpongeBob
this guy's
does. Oh,
not
it doesn't. He's not the
a
exact same level of
glue.
enjoyment, and that's this episode's main problem.
Yeah, Cryptic, you can recommend again. Anyways, this is not Glue Gun Cuphead. This guy's name is My Dumbass Charger, and he was recommended by Minty, who was one of the people who was in the chat of season 2 of Bfdcd.
Slightly pushing his boundaries from the acceptable to the slightly hurtful to the very hurtful. This probably would have worked a lot better, but it goes right to Patrick doing the very
Rose Profile and Cryptic Jr.
Wearing makeup make you an idiot? Yes, I know that Patrick has completely forgotten the farce at this point, which means that if he actually did run into someone with lower intelligence to him, he'd probably act this way. SpongeBob tries to get Patrick back to reality, but only ends up failing.
People are always blissfully unaware of how dumb they really are.
Not exactly, but we'll get to that.
Hold on, I
when we
need
get
to
that
see
one.
if I have...
Spirited, then I find it funny. I'll put this. It kind of feels like Patrick being a hypocrite.
no, I don't. Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's the joke, but it's way too malicious for someone who's only trying to help. SpongeBob started with Patrick's
This
parents,
is
and they end up
cryptic.
thinking that Patrick taught him a bunch of stuff. Like, they suddenly think that Patrick's a genius. Once again, there's no conditions, and it comes across
Wait,
as
no,
joke.
I don't want to...
It was known that when it comes to what?
So now you think that Patrick is stupid again. Then we learn that these guys aren't Patrick's parents at all. They completely forgot that they didn't have a son because I do, and now I'm squicked out. After this episode, maybe if there's a more obvious transition to Patrick acting like a dick, it could have worked much better. Oscar-worthy compared to the choices further down the list.
Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch.
I was unsure the problem worse, but it isn't exactly the main problem with this episode. That's why I'm not putting shovelporting on the list for the record. But I decided that, yeah, this is definitely Patrick's prick. However, unlike most of my other choices, that's not the only problem, or even the main problem with the episode. So, let's talk about it. Let's start with
Okay.
it takes us 3 minutes
Now
to
we
get to the
just
Toy
gotta
Store
get-
of Doom. In the meantime, we get SpongeBob and Patrick rattling off a bunch of things that they're not going to do this episode, and it's revealed that they're doing it in Squidward's house. He kicks them out, and they go wandering. This is another segment of nothing of substance happening. I'm complaining that they can't fill up 22 minutes, and here they are unable to fill in 11 minutes. Some signs appear, and this leads them to the toy store, or so they think. When they get there, they find out that it's not open yet. Don't worry, I'll get to the relentless crying at some point down the road. There are a shit ton more episodes to elaborate on that beast later. Eventually, a construction worker brings the toy barrel and throws them inside, making this scene totally pointless. So for the rest of this episode, we're gonna start ripping off Rugrats. But, you know, do everything worse.
No, you're probably gonna say, do it smaller.
I don't get
But, that's what I'm gonna do on the...
And even in modern SpongeBob, there's sometimes he's pretty spot on.
Never give up. Don't ever give up. We can't let Mr. Krabs go bankrupt. We must keep busy.
No.
Never giving up.
It's almost like they're trying to make it horribly off-key on purpose. They vow never to leave the toy store, but unfortunately for that plan, it's now closing time.
Hold on.
There we go. Patrick convinces SpongeBob to go and hide, so they won't get kicked out. Of course, SpongeBob, being the naive sot that he is, decides to go along with it after minimal convincing. After security passes by, they decide to have some fun in the toy store. That is until the lights go out. So Patrick decides to use his night vision. He got it when he stuck a flashlight in his ear. Then we see that Patrick literally doesn't have a brain whatsoever. At one point he did, guys. At one point he did. The batteries die out, rendering that scene completely pointless. Then Patrick starts acting like a prick and convinces SpongeBob that the toys want to get them. I must state for the record that we're about 9 minutes into the episode, and the doom of the title is finally coming into play. If you want to do this plot correctly, Rugrats did, you're going to need to have your main characters get here quicker. Barring that, trim the fat and turn it into one of those season 5 shorts. Eventually, they hear some stomping and run for it. They finally decide to fight back. Their assailant turns out to be the robot that Patrick wound up earlier. Are they playing some kind of game, or are they really that stupid? The episode didn't exactly make that clear. Instead, it wanted to focus on, yeah.
It was nice knowing you, pal.
I know. I'm an interesting guy.
I'm sure that Vlad the Impaler was an interesting guy, too. The robot stops dead in front of them, so Patrick, for absolutely no reason and with no prompting, decides to wind it up again. Patrick and SpongeBob run out of the store, and since it's now daytime, their eyes burn. Then Patrick, realizing the toy store is open, runs back inside.
Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch.
You thought that Patrick was destructive enough by himself? Let's try teaching the fat bastard karate. The episode starts with SpongeBob making a pineapple, and considering that he lives in one, that's kind of confusing. Anyway, it attracts a fly that gets lodged in SpongeBob's throat, so he begins choking. Patrick comes in, and it actually takes him a minute to figure out that there's something wrong with SpongeBob. You'll never guess how he saves him, by punching him in the chest. Wonder what
Now to get Rose Profile Jr.
So, Patrick wants to learn how to do karate. This can only end so well.
If I recall correctly, I seem to remember saving your life a few minutes ago.
You know, most people wouldn't demand that the favor be returned.
I also remember you saying if there's anything you can do to return the favor, to let you know.
Smartass. Eventually, SpongeBob relents and agrees to teach Patrick.
Power comes responsibility.
We'll see how that ends up. The training begins. It amounts to some weak gags and the destruction of property.
So, you know, let's... Okay.
Despite the fact that Patrick is unteachable, he only screwed up 2 exercises. Here, you give up after only 2 moves. In his stage, Patrick chops through some nerve block and does it perfectly.
Never been able to execute such a clean karate job, solid cinder. You're unnatural. A karate genius.
Now, 5 seconds ago, you said he was unteachable. Make up your damn mind. Then Patrick chops through a sword. Then he chops through an abandoned steamboat. Next, he's about to chop a baby. Wait,
Oh, you mean
that's
school
supposed to be a joke as
bus.
SpongeBob stops
Ah, maybe you should have clarified that earlier. Okay, now after I get Rose Profile Jr. Ah, there she is. Never mind. I'm just
Then
joking.
immediately after this warning, SpongeBob goes to work. You can guess what happens next. Patrick chops us some hot dogs. This scene is totally pointless. A smart writer would have used that to show that Patrick was beginning to get carried away. But nope, we get just 5 seconds of nothing. Patrick goes down to the Krusty Krab and
Where's that
chops
link?
open the door. He orders some food and chops it up. When SpongeBob tries to talk to Patrick, he gets offended and leaves. Patrick exits the building by chopping through the window. Next, Patrick goes to the ice cream shop. When he tries to pay for all
And yeah, of course, it's a big school bus. Yeah, we know. We like it with school bus.
Patrick chops the cabbage and he gets out. He does some eating and chops his meal for no good reason. He chops up an arcade machine and presumably a bunch of other stuff. The
There she is.
When the sand comes into the Krusty Krab and tells SpongeBob that there's a mad child on the loose. This prompts SpongeBob to see if he can stop Patrick. All it seems to take is a little talk. But it seems that Patrick can't stop chopping, so his hand leads him to the bargain mart. I said with I'm Stupid that the episode should have ended with Patrick losing control of the situation, but it doesn't really work. You say that there's action. That allows Patrick to shirk responsibility. He was clearly chopping things of his own volition earlier, and Patrick's hand is still a part of Patrick. Eventually, he chops down the entire bargain mart and thinks that he crushed SpongeBob when he comes across a store brand sponge. It turns out that that's not SpongeBob, but SpongeBob really was crushed. I love it how he's crying harder and more convincing when the toy store wasn't open yet. Yeah, these heart-wrenching scenes don't really work if you have the characters cry at every single opportunity. Patrick blames his hand and tears it off. Alright, so it's the hand's fault that everything was destroyed. If Patrick was on steroids and this whole fiasco was the cause of roid rage, who would you blame? The guy taking drugs or the drugs themselves? There may have been a point in this episode where Patrick wasn't in control of his actions, but what happened before then...
Hold on, guys. I have a question just for you. If some guy was going on some weird drugs and destroying everything and causing so many bad problems, who would you blame? The guy taking the drugs or the drugs themselves? Okay, so we got Rose Profile Jr. Hold on. Wow. That's how small the juniors are. Hold on. Is Hattie? Yes. Okay. Yeah, anyone who would blame the drugs are weirdos and do not understand how brains work. Anyways.
Was enough for this episode to make the cut, so to speak. Patrick actually decides to make up for what he did, and I would have given this episode points, if not for the ending. Apparently, now there's another Patrick that grew from that arm. This new Patrick is intent on chopping into things, and we're just going to ignore that, apparently. In preparation for my last top 10 list, I marathoned the entirety of Season 8, in order to find some Squidward
and cheese puffs.
And Season 8 pretty much shows Patrick at his absolute worst. And so much to the point where it's a running theme. SpongeBob, Smooch the Bikini Bottom, Pet Sitter Pat are all from Season 8. And a large chunk of this list is all Season 8. Starting with Patrick's this episode is part of the season graph. Season 7 is the Bikini Bottom series that supposedly told a fantastical and do you know Season 8 was the entire main cast having a fucking vacation, and each of them got their own episode about it. If Patrick's isn't the worst out of all of them, it's at least up there. While Mr. Krabs has a vacation and Walking the Plane were just dull, and SquarePants Family Vacation has a little bit of everything terrible, Patrick's Staycation is out. Each episode starts with the characters and ends up breaking it and decides to use Shadow Puppets. Now, Shadow Puppets, the episode really starts with SpongeBob coming to check on Patrick. He's apparently so burned out from doing nothing all day and desperately needs...
I waking up, eating, sleeping, waking up, eating, sleeping for my whole life without a rest.
The only way to take a break from that is to starve to death. Yes, Patrick, you desperately need a vacation. They go to a travel agency, but get kicked out because Patrick doesn't have any money.
That's the best I can do.
This gives SpongeBob the idea to give Patrick a staycation. Remember my problems with I'm with stupid? This episode is going to repeat those problems, bring them to the forefront, and do them 10 times worse. Patrick goes into his home to find out that SpongeBob has turned it into a hotel.
I have absolutely no idea where to put the face on this bus.
Then when everything collapses, he wants everything back to the way it was. Next, SpongeBob shows Patrick the pool, which in reality is just
Okay, that's the best I could do.
This can only end so well.
Where's the diving board?
The diving board.
You do realize that this isn't a hotel, and you're kind of taking advantage of your best friend's charity, right? SpongeBob
The recommender confirmed that this guy is bigger than literally everyone here.
Drowning in the bathtub. SpongeBob takes the sweet time to stop in front of the bathtub, and
I already
then he pulls his drowning best friend out of the bathtub.
CPR. Candy peppermint resuscitation.
Or, you know, the hospital. That kind of seems like a better idea. The candy cane completely ignores Patrick's head trauma and makes him feel more hungry.
Yeah, this is the best I could
SpongeBob
do.
begins making a Krabby Patty, and Mr. Krabs makes a cameo.
I think I should have actually added this mouth over here, but then again,
SpongeBob tried to make a Krabby Patty in the pre-movie era.
Yeah.
What kind of resort is this? Where's the entertainment?
Wow, you're an asshole. SpongeBob's making you a meal, and you're demanding to be entertained on top of that, despite the fact that there are some actual resorts that don't have entertainment at their restaurants.
Presenting the SpongeBob Follies.
No, thank you, I've seen quite enough. While SpongeBob tries to entertain Patrick, the grill catches on fire. The smoke leads Patrick away, and a nicer smell leads him to Squidward's house. Now Patrick thinks that Squidward's house is a resort, and starts eating his food.
The last resort I was staying at was a dump. But this place is awesome!
Yeah, what makes this episode fall apart is how fucking ungrateful Patrick is.
Okay, I'm gonna make him
His
bigger.
asshole behavior is not funny. It was never funny, and it's certainly not funny here. When Squidward tells Patrick to get out of his house, he decides that he wants to go to the resort spa. While Squidward tries to bring
Okay,
Patrick
this is
down
the
to
biggest I
reality,
could get
we
him.
see that
Let me
SpongeBob
just...
is giving Patrick a massage.
Hold on.
Squidward, deciding that he can't beat him, pushes Patrick over and steals his massage. And they actually managed to pull a funny moment out of this episode. That's shocking. When SpongeBob finishes, it's nighttime. He tries to go to bed, but Patrick thinks that SpongeBob's house
That's
is a
the biggest
resort.
I can get
SpongeBob sleeps
him.
at Mr. Krabs' house, and then the episode ends. Okay, then.
Your brain is full of spiders, you've got garlic in your soul.
Now just gotta get...
Our next episode on the list is a special kind of insulting, delving into what the writers of SpongeBob think
hi,
is deserving of
Minty.
critical praise. You can tell a lot about a writer by how they choose to portray critics in their work.
Minty,
And this episode kind
dang
of showed
it.
why. The episode starts with Squidward rolling out one of his works of art. Squidward and the universe hates him. It doesn't matter what's under that tarp. It's going to be panned. Meanwhile, Patrick and SpongeBob are making arts and crafts. Patrick starts crying. Once again, more than he did when he thought SpongeBob was crushed. Because
Yeah,
he can't
happy
make
Pride
art.
Month,
Well, I suppose
everyone.
it's better than making crap and thinking it's art. SpongeBob tells Patrick to take a rock and put googly eyes on it. In turn, Patrick creates an accurate model of the Dungeons & Dragons gibbering beast. Just kidding, he actually makes nothing more than a mess. However, they both think it's beautiful and that Patrick is an artist. The critic finally comes around and pans Squidward's art that is supposed to look extremely good to the audience. And he steals Squidward's bray. Then he goes over to SpongeBob and Patrick.
You like to make something too?
I'm a critic. I don't make things. I judge things.
Not just...
Anyone else feel like this is supposed to be a take that towards critics of the show? Yeah, I kinda hate this episode's guts. The critic thinks that Patrick's crappy thing he made in 5 seconds is astounding, and I kinda thought that there might have been a metaphor here. Like the writers are making
Okay,
crap
this is
because
cheese
it'd be much
puff.
more appreciated than if they put effort into it, but that'd be stupid.
The recommender did not confirm what kind of limbs this character has, so, I'm just gonna give him legs.
SpongeBob writers aren't talented enough to come up with metaphors. They probably are trying to say that critics are pretentious idiots who can't see quality right in front of their face and find value in crap. But they never sink that low now, would they? The critic decides to pay $500 for Patrick's art, which is odd because critics don't actually do that, museum curators do.
Who's the critic here?
I am, and you suck. Some guy comes down and is looking for some art, like an addict.
Real craving for creativity.
then you're in the wrong show. Patrick makes the exact same thing, which is the opposite of creativity, and gives it to that
Got
guy.
it.
You know, that guy probably isn't interested in Patrick's art at all, and just wants to snort the fucking glue he used to make it. Patrick sells a few more pieces, and then Squidward angrily goes off to work. Eventually, Patrick runs out of rocks and panics.
Okay,
Now we end
so the
up
new
with Patrick
contestants
with a
are
big
Papa
portion of this
Jr.,
episode.
Hattie
He makes
Jr.,
a
Rose
starting
Profile
knife and fixes
Jr.,
the He carves the finger
Cryptic
and fixes the
Jr.,
strap. I'm
my
still not
dumbass
entirely
Charger,
sure if this episode isn't a look into the psyche of the
Facebook
SpongeBob
logo,
players. Patrick decides he's hungry and heads down to the
Cheese
Krusty Krab.
Puff,
Now he acts like a pretentious asshole.
and
This is definitely a look into the psyche of the SpongeBob
School
players.
Bus.
But I'm wondering if that might be too predictable.
All he needs to do is order one of the Splinter jammed in and we'll be set. Patrick asks for some artistic advice from Squidward, which Mr. Krabs put on the menu. This is just to serve as a painful reminder to Squidward that the universe thinks he sucks as an artist.
Let me just say, right up front, I'm excited to learn from a master.
Squidward was panned as an artist in this fucking episode. Squidward gives Patrick an offhand remark, then tells Patrick to put googly eyes on Krabby Patties.
Brilliant. I've never seen such an example of raw creativity.
Considering the show you're in, yeah. So Patrick starts his own little business, buying Krabby Patties for $3 and selling
Yeah,
them
this
for
is the
$50.
part where I'm
This is the
gonna-
episode where Mr. Krabs hasn't done anything wrong, by the way. He, of course, doesn't take it very well.
Why is he so mad, Squidward?
Because I'm fairly sure that what you were doing was illegal. Patrick says that he was just following Squidward's advice, and Squidward takes the fall for it. Mr. Krabs sells the patties for $50, and the customers go over to Patrick, who then has Squidward do all the work so he can take all the credit for it.
If you work real hard, you may be an artist too someday. Probably not. It needs more glitter.
Yeah, if an insight into how SpongeBob views criticism was all that was wrong with this episode, it would get its own review. And that is my biggest problem with the episode. But this ending makes me fully comfortable with putting it on this list. But seriously, guys, let's get into the real shit.
That's the best I could do.
Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch.
You know, SpongeBob telling me their thoughts on art and criticism really pisses me off. But what could piss me off more? How about them telling me their thoughts on family? Let's shoot the elephant out of the room. Yes, Patrick said in an earlier episode that he didn't have a sister. This episode is about his sister's visit. Let's ignore that because that's the least of this episode's problems. It starts with Patrick waking SpongeBob up in an attempt to clean his house. And we're already ripping off I'm with stupid. Let's see how they can do it even worse.
Clean. I'm making it clean. I'm making it clean.
Off-key singing. That's a nice place to start.
I lost her in the surf when we were kids. Sam took care of me when I was just nursing on Coral.
This is never brought up again and has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the episode.
Cherry
Now, a
Blossom
smart writer would
Tree
just
Pot.
says he's going to help make this visit special, which is another connection to I'm with Stupid. For the record, there are episodes that rip off great things and Pretty Pooper Pants as well, but we'll get to them when we get to them. Finally, saying the fact that she's nothing but a larger, more stupid, stronger clone of Patrick, I'm not counting her
I'm just gonna make
his body parts. Sam beats Patrick up a bit, but he doesn't seem to mind. Then when SpongeBob touches Patrick, Sam throws him into the sky. Patrick is completely oblivious to the fact that his best friend has been tossed into the sky and could be plummeting into some kind of danger. Sam says to make it bigger. She begins building a bunch of sand, and some of it gets thrown into Squidward's mouth. Once again, Patrick is oblivious to what his sister is doing. A bigger house, completely made out of sand, and Squidward's house ends up partly buried. Squidward complains of this, so Sam pushes his house away, right in front of Patrick. Yes, this is pretty much a running theme for the episode. I can understand the way when family or friends are doing destructive actions. And that wasn't what they were, any
Makes a better bulldozer than a sister.
because that's what they were going for, then Patrick would take insult to that statement, instead of looking at him with an oblivious expression.
Big buffoon, like Patrick, except bigger and dumber
Just making a-
and buffoonier.
Just
Yes,
gonna
I've
make it
already
a
established
mug.
how lazy the creation of this character is. Can we please move on? This gets Sam to cry, which finally gets Patrick to do something. He starts shaming SpongeBob and Squidward for getting angry that Sam destroyed Squidward's house.
Shame on you too.
You two, SpongeBob didn't do anything. Like, at all. He's just been standing there.
Okay,
Sam's
yeah,
ears
I
start
know.
causing the ground to shake because the writers thought that there was no difference between being 8 feet tall and 80 feet tall.
Yeah.
Patrick is clear not to blame Sam for
Okay,
what she's doing.
it's
and
a-
if you're wondering, yes, I personally would
pot.
call my siblings out for their destructive behavior. Most people are biased, not really seeing their friends or family do immoral actions, but right now Patrick is
So this
completely
is
blind to
coffee.
morality. After Patrick calms Sam down, she goes over to Squidward's house, which is odd because SpongeBob's is now closer, and she takes a piece off of it.
It's out of control.
Hey, just mind your own business and let us bleckerate in peace.
Why don't you just mind your own business and let us thieve in peace? Why don't you just mind your own business and let us murder in peace? You get my point, right? Once again, he's totally blind to morality. Apparently, Patrick doesn't think it's unfair that Sam is dismantling Squidward's house. And at this point, he's more unlikable than Sam is.
Okay,
That's
cherry blossom in
a
a
problem,
pot.
considering
Let me
that
just
they're
do that
trying to make Sam
after.
unlikable.
See now that not only have you turned against my sister, you've turned on your best friend as well.
Seriously, dude? Go die. Patrick and Sam go under the sand rock. Squidward picks up a rock of his own with intent to destroy. SpongeBob tries to talk him out of it, and you know what? That's an interesting setup, forcing Squidward and SpongeBob to work together to force their way through an incident. The problem is how horribly unlikable Patrick is. Squidward throws the rock at the sand rock, and it knocks over the stolen property. Sam comes out and sees what Squidward had done. It's at this point I realize that this episode thinks Squidward is in the wrong for being angry that his house was destroyed and he was robbed. Did they overreact at points? Sure, but still. Sam then completely destroys Squidward's house. Outraged, Squidward comes in riding a bulldozer. He's fully intent on destroying Patrick's new house, but Sam takes the bulldozer and throws it at SpongeBob's house. Unlike Squidward, SpongeBob has been incredibly tolerant of the entire situation. Also, Patrick is smiling after Sam launched the bulldozer into the air. SpongeBob finally manages to talk some sense into Patrick. No, that doesn't make things any better. That makes it worse, since apparently he knew what she was doing was wrong. When Patrick finally does something, he ends up in a pile of rubble due to Sam's destruction. Regretful that she hurt Patrick,
This is probably the best asset that I've
At
made.
this point, since 2 of the bottom 3 episodes on this list happened before this episode aired, Sam decides to leave. This could actually be a heartwarming moment if she was regretful that
No,
she did
okay.
everything Patrick did.
Some in a
I don't know about you, but the episode Oral Report is a masterpiece of failure. Like, nothing worth liking, it fails in each category. It is inspiring to how much this episode fails. It is the coalition of pretty much all of the flaws of modern SpongeBob jammed into one episode.
Okay.
In fact, I may have to do a follow-up review on this episode. Let's start with the rule of thumb. SpongeBob is preparing for his oral report for boating school. The problem here is the wrong conclusion. He's doing an assignment for boating school. If he fails the assignment, he fails the class. If he passes the assignment, something down the road is going to get him to fail the class. The people at the Krusty Krab have been waiting so long that they've turned into zombies. This scares SpongeBob so much that he goes into hiding. And then the zombies decide to beat up Squidward. Yep. Let's shoehorn in
So,
some
this
Squidward's
is the
report for
vase.
the brief moment that he's here. This frightens SpongeBob even more. So SpongeBob goes to Patrick for help. Considering that we're number 3 on the top 10 worst Patrick's a Prick episode list, you know that this isn't going to end very well. It starts with Patrick noisily moving a desk to the back of the mock classroom. Then Patrick asks for
I
a
need
hall
clip
pass,
art.
missing the basic point. Then Patrick
What, SpongeBob? Wait for your boarding speech?
yeah, SpongeBob hasn't even started his speech. Patrick tells SpongeBob he has to be prepared for the worst, and he's willing to help him do just that. This involves throwing pillows at SpongeBob, repeatedly. Then Patrick dresses up like Mrs. Puff. Wait, what?
That's disturbing.
He blames SpongeBob for the pillow mess, and then gives him a detention slip. Then Patrick puts SpongeBob on a treadmill. He bangs a cymbal, getting SpongeBob to Patrick's help wasn't helping, but it was also obvious where Patrick was coming from. None of this stuff can come from any sort of logic, period.
I know it looks like
Well, if I don't
some
do my
sort
report,
of.
then I don't pass. And if I don't pass, then I don't get my boating license.
Even if you do your oral report, you're still gonna fail your fucking class. Then Patrick suggests that SpongeBob go to Sandy to have her make him a fake license. SpongeBob is the only character in this episode.
Your oral report is.
Stop putting itis at the end of words and claiming that it's a fucking disease. This is not what that suffix means. It means inflammation. It does not mean disease.
Is this it?
Whoa, kerpow!
And people full of bullshit like you have also been known to explode.
Is this
Twice.
it?
Now can we please move on? Sandy tells SpongeBob to imagine people in their underwear. It really took a scientist to figure that out. Sandy gives SpongeBob goggles, which, well, if he wasn't going to be mocked before, he's certainly going to be mocked now. They allow him to see people in their underwear, apparently. Patrick joins SpongeBob in class. Can anyone guess why? Yeah, he needs to screw something up. Well, the gag where he's holding a pillow.
Mrs. Bob, do I really have to do this?
Oh, only if you want to pass
Okay.
less.
Look, after Nautical Novice, there is for 50 fucking seasons. That is how little weight there is to this conflict.
Brown
After way too long with nothing
pot.
important happening, Patrick hands SpongeBob the goggles. And
Rounded
because the
one.
writers wanted to
No.
emphasize that he
Oh,
kind
I'm
of screwed
just
things
gonna-
up.
Why does this keep happening to me?
The now broken
Oh.
glasses seem to work.
Okay.
Well, SpongeBob?
That's disturbing.
Until the underwear starts criticizing SpongeBob. This gets him to panic and bolt from the classroom. Patrick follows suit. SpongeBob steals a boating school boat, and Mrs. Puff follows along. This leads to a large portion of absolutely nothing happening, until SpongeBob runs through a red light.
So those
getting
are the
police to chase him.
legs.
He eventually crashes. Now, because it's a modern SpongeBob boating school episode, Mrs. Puff must be arrested through no fault of her own. That is like an absolute requirement. Once again, Patrick is totally oblivious to unjust actions happening in front of him. He puts on the goggles and ends up running off.
You are made of stupid.
This is probably the worst episode on the list, all things considered, but I'm judging these episodes for how much Patrick's a prick. So keep that in mind. If I was doing this list by how much I hate the episodes, this would probably be number 1.
Your brain is full of spiders. You've got garlic
Need to
in
make
your
it
soul,
bigger.
Mr. Grinch.
Holy shit! What the holy fucking hell? What the hell were they thinking with this episode? Jesus, tap dancing Christ! Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about yours, mine, and mine. Yes, just like with my other list, I managed to surprise everyone. Most infamous one of them all. In all these episodes, Patrick's either an insufferable asshole or an insufferable idiot. And this episode probably has him at his
Hold
worst in the
Okay,
Not
before I
probably,
try
definitely. I
that,
can't imagine how you could do that worse. It starts at the Krusty Krab. Remember the rule?
Let me see if I
a season 5 or
can-
onwards episode starts at the Krusty Krab, it's going to be one of the worst episodes of the whole series. Anyway, Patrick is having trouble figuring out what to order. After SpongeBob's prompting, he decides that he wants to buy a Krabby Kitty meal. However, he doesn't have the money for it. So he starts crying harder than I've seen him cry at any other point in this list, just because he can't afford a Happy Meal. SpongeBob decides that they could buy the meal together and share it.
Wait a
Which really
minute.
doesn't work if only one person is fronting all of the money.
I'm familiar with the concept of sharing.
He says as he steals SpongeBob's wallet, take the money out and gives it to Squidward. Then despite SpongeBob asking him to save some. Then he's miffed the meal didn't come with a toy, and claims that he wants his money back. Keep in mind that he didn't use his money. This gets Mr. Krabs to see what's going on. I'd just like to point out that he's standing in the middle of a fast food restaurant with nothing on but a bath towel. Mr. Krabs steals someone's Krabby Patty and makes a toy out of it. SpongeBob does something creepy that the episode admits is creepy, and Mr. Krabs will only give it to them for some extra money, which SpongeBob once again pays all of. SpongeBob begins to reenact to love a patty for a while before Patrick stops him.
Am I interrupting?
Oh, hey, Patrick.
Don't you mean our new toy? It came from the meal that we're sharing.
As you could see, Patrick in this episode is trying to be the biggest asshole in the entirety of animation. And considering what they've got, that's... yeah. Yes, kids, don't agree to share jack shit or your partner will extort you as much as possible. The second SpongeBob gives it, Patrick
without
asks,
a
I don't even know.
shade.
I keep saying that Patrick is a jackass or something along those lines.
The one with
but
the
his
red
behavior in this episode
one.
is jarring even to that. I can't begin to describe it. Just look at his facial expressions. Hear the inflections in his voice. That is sociopathy. After work at night, Patrick still refuses to give SpongeBob the toy.
Is this
he says
it?
that SpongeBob might. In case you've forgotten, these two are adults with their own homes and their own lives. SpongeBob thinks that Patrick's only got the toy for tonight and won't get to play with it. Actually, he will, and I'll have a fucking party with it. The next morning, SpongeBob wakes up and goes to Patrick's house. Patrick pretends not to be home. Then he demands to see some ID.
I have my milkshake dispenser operator's license.
To think that they'd eventually go on to make an episode based on that one-off gag. Eventually, SpongeBob tricks Patrick outside and tries to take the toy, by force if necessary. When Patrick refuses, SpongeBob said that Gary was right about him.
Said that? You're off my friend list, Gary!
That makes certain facts make way too much sense. No matter what, Patrick refuses to share because he's a horribly unlikable asshole. They end up running all around Bikini Bottom in some gags that don't add up to anything.
Now, the main problem in an argument is a lack of communication.
No, the main problem here is that Patrick is an unlikable asshole, and he literally does not have capacity for empathy. Eventually, they end up back at the Krusty Krab to set up the usual terrible ending. And then...
No one can!
Okay, this is the best I could do.
Patrick eats it. This gets Mr. Krabs out.
Now, where does her face
Let a
go?
little trinket get between you.
Yeah, I think you should care more about Patrick's behavior. In what capacity could this remotely be seen as interesting, funny, clever, witty, charming, or anything but cruel and fucking disgusting? Here's what you do. You give everyone in the restaurant their own toy, except Patrick, and have them rub it in Patrick's face until the cows come home. That sounds pretty fair. Apparently, Mr. Krabs made a case of toys, and gives each of them a new one. Patrick pays for them both with SpongeBob's wallet, claiming that it's on him.
Have you learned nothing about sharing?
Well, I know I have. Hey, Patrick, this is my very special grenade, and I want to share it with you. Here's the deal. I'll keep this little shiny pull thing,
Okay.
and you can keep the rest of it for as long as you want. Sound good? Good.
Okay, got the final contestant. Ah!
Worst Patrick's a Prick episode was inevitably going to be the one where he was the most stupid, or the one where he was the biggest asshole. I was very conflicted on which one to choose. In fact, I was very conflicted in determining the order of many of these episodes. But one line of dialogue made the case for the card to guarantee its spot as number one on this list. This episode is terrible, every little bit of it. It starts at the bank. We spend way too long on several attempted and failed
So
gags
these
that
are
ends
gonna
with
be the
SpongeBob getting his money.
contestants
This
of
scene could have and should have
season
been cut out of the episode entirely.
3.
SpongeBob goes down to a comic book store where he's prepared to buy some Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy trading cards. Patrick is there reading a
However,
book that teaches
since
him
my
how to count.
iPad
Now,
is
he
nearly
really is that
dead,
stupid now. He wants the books
I'm
because
actually
they
gonna
come
wait
with some
until
money.
it's fully
Meanwhile,
charged
SpongeBob
to
buys
actually
some
do
trading
this
cards.
season,
He gets a bunch of
so
cards that
the
are
stream is
crap.
about to
There's only
end.
one card worth anything, the card number 54. This fact is here to show you that the writers know absolutely nothing about how trading cards work. Actual trading cards have widely varying values and rarities to keep the game interesting and stopping it from stalling. If there's only 5 cards in existence that have any value at all, the game isn't going to go anywhere. We have another long sequence of nothing happening as SpongeBob buys a bunch of packs that don't have the only card of value. Finally, Patrick has gotten to 100, but he's fed up with counting. He decides to
So,
buy what SpongeBob bought. Just guess.
goodbye.